What's up, everybody? It is the Best Spot Kid Smooth, and I'm back with another video. And today I want to talk about Avowed. Now, I'm going to say this. Avowed is one of, if not the, it's one of my most anticipated games coming out early next year, February 2025. Avowed, Obsidian RPG. There's nothing anybody can say to stop me from enjoying this game. There's certain things that, turns me off about, video games, but I still pretty much give those video games a chance. You guys kind of know where I sit, politically and stuff like that. And I know who's responsible for making video games. I know where all the creative are where they politically sit, where their social justices are and whatnot. Most times it's not an issue with me because I do think they make pretty good games as far as presentation, graphics, and even story and whatnot. Sometimes things are forced into the game that I personally don't like, and sometimes it could be so blatant that it could turn me off to the game. So some games, depending on how blatant it is, I can just ignore the game. Some things have like small cues and stuff that I can actually ignore. And some developers are generous enough to make things optional or make a toggle thing so you don't have to you could just kind of like completely disregard it altogether. I love developers that do that but then you have developers that, that wear their agendas and everything on their shoulder, and they want to force it out there. So earlier, like shortly after the preview of Avowed, after I saw the preview of Avowed, my hype is at an all-time high. My hype is still at an all-time high. You guys know also how I feel about like the grums, these every time these DEI detectors where they find the people that attack south of midnight, like those type of people. I can't stand people like that because I think they're a poison in video games. Not everything needs to be contested. Not everything needs to be debated. Like I don't like when anything that's not white is in a video game, or anything that's not pretty or anything that's not sexy if it's not in a video game, like it's a problem, it's DEI or it's uglified or whatever this stuff is. Now, when you talk about like Avowed, it's a fantasy RPG. Takes place in a different universe. They can have different creatures and stuff. This is where they have their flexibility to do really what they want with the characters, because you don't have to, it's not grounded in realism, right? It's not grounded in reality. But the thing that does, because it's not grounded in reality, it does get annoying when they start to take reality things, like real things, and shove them in a game, because it kind of breaks the immersion of what the game is. So when the previews broke, someone was able to show off one of the creative menus. I think one of the creative character menus or something like that, and they spotted the pronoun, and not the pronoun, just the regular pronoun. It's the he him thing, the she her sort of pronoun, which people saw that in the game, and then the right people got to it, grums, and they broadcast it out, and they start telling everybody to boycott the game because of politics, identity politics, and all this other stuff. And me personally, when I first saw it, I was like, if there's a toggle to turn it off, great. If it's not, I'm pretty sure I can ignore it. I really don't care about the he, her thing. As long as it's not popping up in every dialogue that every time my character speaks, I have to see he, him, or she, her, some pronoun like that. Now, if it did that, I'm like, bro, you're really kind of pushing it. In the screen like that, I really don't care. I prefer not for it to be, because I don't really think it's necessary. I don't think any of that shit is necessary in video games, but it wasn't enough to make me feel away. It wasn't going to make me not buy the game or not reserve the game or play the game. I'm still fully interested. I don't really care. It's going to turn some people off. I think people are overly sensitive about that stuff. Even me being who I am and where I sit on the spectrum, on the political spectrum, some of that shit really don't bother me. I don't care if I come across a profile, whether it be a Twitter profile, a LinkedIn profile, if somebody's like, they have their pronouns. I don't care if that's what it is. What it is. Like, I ignore it when I see it. It's like, but so I can ignore this. The reason why I'm making a stink about it now, and I did make a tweet on X that I will share with you guys is because of this. So I don't know. I think I couldn't find Matt Hansen. He's the lead art director of Avowed, and he clearly he's definitely sitting on the left. I hate to make this thing about left and right, but he got a hold. I think the platform he's on is Blue Sky, either Blue Sky or one of these Twitter alternatives. Like, people love and hate Twitter so much. They leave Twitter and they go onto a copycat of Twitter, hoping to find a bunch of people that think exactly like them. That's essentially what it is. Like, Blue Sky is like they're hoping it's the liberal version of Twitter/X. That's what they're hoping is. They want that mind state, a sheep mind state, on one platform. They don't like how polarizing X is, or how you can now rightfully have your own opinion on X and it's not being banned anymore. So they ran a Blue Sky where a bunch of liberals are, and I think that's where this image came from. So Matt Hansen finally got a hold of the tweet from Grums, and Elon Musk, obviously, he retweeted, and obviously where he sits on the spectrum, where what happened was they found the pronoun thing. Grum said, "I'm drawing a line. I'm rejecting any game that has pronouns in it, and you grammar Nazis know what I mean. Stop being stupid." I think he's an idiot for that. I wouldn't boycott a game. And talk about me. I'm pretty much vocal where I stand. I'm sorry. Some of these pronoun people make really good video games. I'm sorry. So, and some of them are not as aggressive with the video game intrusion. Elon Musk quote tweets Grums and says, "Having pronouns in a fantasy video game is utterly unacceptable." I think that's stupid. It's not unacceptable. If it's because of I don't think it's necessary, but I wouldn't say it's not necessary, but it's not unacceptable. I can definitely accept it if the game is freaking good. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If GTA has it, I don't think it's making a difference. So Matt Hansen, this is where I start having a problem with it, right? Because I'm trying to ignore the Elon Musk. I'm trying to ignore the Grums, and they're not going to shake my hype for the game, right? Because maybe this is just a small little shit that they wanted to add to their game. Maybe they'll hear the feedback and maybe they'll toggle it off, or maybe it'll make it optional so people who don't want to see that bullshit don't have to, and they can just toggle it off. Maybe they'll respond that way. That's the one thing I was hoping they would do. But no, Matt Hansen decides to say on Blue Sky, he says, sickles.jpg. He says, "I want it so badly to make him mad with my game, and I cannot believe it actually happened. Just wait until you see the default. You said little shit. You said little shit." I don't know if he meant to say you said little shit or what he actually said. You said little shit. And then at the bottom there, it says, "Anyway, Avowed comes out February 18th next year. Give it a whirl if you ain't afeared of the woke my mind virus." Okay. This is where I have a problem with this, because I'm hoping that the feedback about the pronouns and stuff comes in and they make an adjustment to the game where the people who don't want to tolerate it, because the thing is, you want to sell the game. You want people to play the game. You worked all these years to play this game. You don't want it to flop. You don't want people to boycott it because you probably created something really good, and it's going to get slander with unnecessary reviews or unnecessary feedback over pronouns. And the whole art and work that was poured into the game gets lost over a pronoun. And I think Matt Hansen is in danger of ruining what the game can be by engaging in this bullshit. And what he's engaging in is the woke wars. So he spots a popular person, Elon Musk, Grums, commenting on his game negatively, which they're good at riling people up, creating an army who is strong enough that will boycott the game. And that word's going to spread. And then you get copycats and people who want to be a part of the movement. right? So he's standing on business of the pronouns, and not only is he standing on that, so not only does it mean that it's there, that means there's a lot more shit that's going to turn people off in the game, because he says, just wait until you see the default. You said little shit. So how far are you going with this? Like, my thing is, so you're telling me you want it so badly to make him mad with your game so that you're willing to risk the success, the virality of your game, just so you can satisfy your personal agenda by making a Elon Musk or Grumps upset. So you're willing to poison your game or lose any goodwill that your game potentially have for this. This is read the room. This is a polarizing thing where it's a new freaking day, man. Like, it's a new day. You know what I mean? Clearly, the old regime wasn't that popular. Clearly. I'm sorry. It is Trump's America again, right? So when you do that, right, you just let you know there was more people on that side. Believe it or not, no matter how ridiculous it sounds, more people on that side of the spectrum than there is on your side of the spectrum. And your goal is to make a game. Your goal is to sell the game to anybody, regardless of where their social views, their political views, their religious views fit. You want them to enjoy your game. So right now, you're doing an EA. Remember what EA did when Battlefield 5 came out, or Battlefield 1 or whatever? They was like, if you don't like our game, don't buy it. And I think is when they had like women with like, robot arms in the game and stuff like that. They was like, yo, this is not accurate. No, this is not true. And then people displeased their issues with that. EA responded not properly to it. They just said, don't buy it. And what happened? People didn't buy it. I feel like it's sending the same message. And I'm so irritated because I am looking forward to Avowed. Now, what he says, he's just an art director, right? What he says isn't turning me off from the game. I really want to play the game, but it does scare me a little bit because I'm like, all right, how far did you go? Like, what more did you put in this game that's going to piss people that think like these guys off? Because the problem is when you go to that far extreme, right? Because right now we don't live in a world where there's a middle. We either at far left or far right. So I'm taking Matt as a far left person. So if you go far left, that means you got that, material in your game to a point you're going to piss off a lot of people that come across these things. Hopefully these things are so secretive that you got to find the shit and it's not like in your face. But who knows? Who knows? And I don't want people to think I'm like making like a case or trying to take it personal. I don't care personally. I don't care about the pronouns in this game. I feel like the game itself looks hot. It looks dope. And like I'm willing to overlook or ignore that shit. And I would hope they're allowed for a toggle for like make it for if people who are interested in that shit. Have it, for those who ain't, please make an option to toggle the bitch off. But I'm hoping that they didn't just literally design this game to be an attack on people who are right leaning. Because if you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. And Avowed, I mean, this game's been in development in 6 years. There's no way you develop this game dedicated to people like this. To attack people like that. And I am not a fan of Grumps. I can't stand Grumps. I can't stand him. I don't support anything he does. I don't support the things he says. I don't support anything he stands for. I think he's a racist schmuck. I don't like his followers. I don't like anything they stand for. But the thing is, though, what I don't like is let your game speak for itself. They don't like the pronouns, cool, whatever. But make the game be good. Don't build in the game on an agenda, bro. Don't promote your game off an agenda that's polarizing, that is split down the middle to the point you got just as much people that are with you and maybe just as much or even more that is against you. Don't do that. And I think this guy in his post is setting up Avowed to have a rocky launch and a rocky reception. So people are going to dismiss this game before playing the game because they're pretty much designate this game as a DEI thing or this is a left field game. This game is going to have all this bullshit that we're against in this game, whatever. They're already writing off the game. Won't give it a try, won't give it a play because it's one thing to just have Grumps write about it. And I apologize for my background. This should have been a podcast. It's one thing to have Grumps just tweet about it. People share a few screenshots here and there. It's one thing and you just ignore them, whatever. But it's another to fight back in a manner. It's one thing fighting back is fighting back with like, oh, look at this new trailer, like ignore the bullshit. They're fighting back on the opposite side that they're fighting against. So it's like it's left versus right. And if you're going to do that in this day and age, it's a war already lost. And I hope the game doesn't suffer because this guy wanted to make Elon Musk and Grumps upset. I hope this game does not suffer because of that. Avowed, I think, is going to be really good. I don't care about the bullshit. I don't care about the positions and what these people identify with, what they identify as. I don't care. I'm not letting that factor in to me enjoying the game. At the end of the day, they deliver a good, solid game with good graphics, good RPG mechanics and whatnot. It's fine. Now, I know there are things that can happen. There's things they can put in this game that could turn me off. And if that's the case, I will call it out and I will be disappointed. But I want them to let the game speak for itself. Don't argue. Don't fight with these people this way because what it does, it scares me because I'm like, am I expecting what else to expect? If you're saying you can't wait, if this bothered them and you say just wait until you see the default, like, what do you mean by that? Clarify. And I think really Xbox and Obsidian and other people really should step in and stop them because Matt is I feel like he's doing his game a disservice by, trying to fight this war this way. The war on wokeness sucks. It's career suicide. It's video game suicide. They've won some boycotts. They lost some boycotts. Avowed, I'm really, really hoping is a good game. I'm really, really hoping that it's successful. And I really hope they can keep these politic bullshit, this shit out of the video games. It doesn't need it. You have a game where you can be all that shit can be free from that bullshit. It's not grounded in reality, but you're putting this bullshit in the game to turn a lot of people off, and that's not good for the game. And that's my video. I apologize for the background for being so loud, but I had to get this off my chest. The video's a bit long-winded, but hopefully you guys make it through, hear me out. Let me know your thoughts on Avowed and this Matt Hansen of Obsidian and his take, and should we be concerned about Avowed based off what he said. But I did say I wanted to share my tweet. This was just my personal take on it. Let me know what you guys think. I took strong offense really to what was being said here. So I said, please, Obsidian, do not ruin Avowed with this war on woke bullshit. You will turn potential fans off. Stop it. This garbage has no place in our games. If you're going to sabotage your game to piss off Grumps and Elon Musk, you're doing the game and the brand of Xbox a huge disservice. I actually mean that. I really mean that. I feel like that tweet is doing the game and the brand a disservice because you're putting literally the game on one end of the spectrum when half the world is on the opposite end, and it's not going to be pretty. Once you just stick your flag on your stance and you say, hey, I'm for this, I'm going to be doing this, and you're going to use your game as a representation to that, then you're asking half the world not to buy your game. And that's really a recipe for failure, though. That's my video, guys. As always, Xbox is the best box, and I am the best box. Good night or good morning if you're on the other side of the globe. I'm out of here. Peace.